U19 World Cup Peake fires Australia into the semis. Australia qualified for the semifinals of the Under-19 World Cup after beating West Indies by 22 runs in rare courtesy of their captain Oliver Peake. The left-hander scored 109 off 117 balls to take Australia to 314 for 7 in the Super 6 fixture. West Indies came close as Zachary Carter 64 and captain Joshua Dorn 62 scored 60s, but they lost their way towards the death as they eventually ended at 292 for 9. After West Indies opted to bowl at the HSC, the Australian openers Will Maladchuk and Nitish Samuel once again gave them a good start, with the former continuing to power the runs. They brought up the 50-run stand in the 7th over, but Maladchuk's fell on 48 as the 73-run stand in the 9th over. Stephen Hogan fell cheaply as Arjai Gittins picked up his second. Samuel and Peake then put on 85 runs in decent time for the 3rd wicket, as the former also moved past 50. But West Indies continued to stem the flow of runs, which eventually led to the wicket of Samuel for 56. Peake moved to 50 in the next over and found an able partner in keeper batter Alex Lee Young 45. The duo began to find boundaries regularly between overs 3-1 and 40 and began to set up for a big finish, but Young fell in the 41st over. Peake and Jaden Draper then combined to score 76 runs in the last 9 overs. Jakeem Pollard picked up Draper and Aryan Sharma in back-to-back overs, but Peake got to his century in style with a 6 down the ground in the last over. He was run out off the last ball of the innings. West Indies didn't want to go down without a fight. Tanis, Francis, and Carter began to deal in boundaries straight away, especially the latter as the 50-run stand came inside 6 overs. Carter raced to 50 off 29 balls, and the onslaught in the first 10 overs saw the chasing side knock 84 off the total. Charles Lackman broke the dangerous stand as Francis was adjudged LBW, but the runs continued to flow as Carter and Jewel Andrew took them past 100 in the 14th over. Naden Correa picked up the big wicket of Carter off his first delivery, much to Carter's fury. Andrew fell in the 27th over after playing a fine hand of 44. Kunal Tilakani and Dorn batted the next period of close to 14 overs as they found the occasional boundary, but a bunch of quiet overs continued to take the required run rate upwards. Dorn brought up his 50 off 81 balls as the game was heading towards a tight finish. With 83 required off the last 10 overs, Lackman picked up the big wicket of Tilakani, while Hayden Schiller scalped Dorn, dragging 2 new batters to the middle. The equation rose to 59 off the last 30 balls, and Jonathan Van Lang began to flex his muscles, scoring 22 off the next 2 overs. Lakshman picked his 3rd of the game as Shaquan Bell skied 1 to Longman. Aryan Sharma picked up Van Lang and Gittins off successive deliveries as Australia began to assert their dominance. Lakshman scalped his 4th with the wicket of Vital Laws in the last over as Australia marched to the final 4 undefeated. Brief scores: Australia 347 in 50 overs, Oliver Peake 109, Nitesh Samuel 56, Jakeem Pollard 237, Arjai Gittins 2045 beat West Indies 299-29 in 50 over, Zachary Carter 64, Joshua Dorn 66, Aryan Sharma 247 by 22 runs.